Yes, yes, we have returned. Here we are once again. And once again, that means noon Eastern time on a Wednesday is time for the High Noon Hemp Show. As you see, officially episode 332, if you're keeping track at home. And I know many of you are, because that's the thing to do. That's what all the youth are doing. They're keeping track of the High Noon Hemp Show and what we got going on here. So we're so glad to be back. You're glad to have us back. And it's awesome. You can see us in very many places. The Temptations Beach Facebook page, also the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel. And if you're on the old X, or if you still call it Twitter, follow Temptations on there. I am Stoner Jesus. I do various things on the interwebs, various bits of tomfoolery and shenanigans you can search out if you feel like it. He is Beach. He loves hemp, and he is high above the Temptations and the Flower Factory in Northside Beach. How are things this week in the world of Temptations?
Well, I have woken from my hibernation. I feel like, it was a much needed time off, mentally, not necessarily physically, but, I had to step away from the old internet for a while, folks. But we're back, and we got plenty of hemp to talk about, plenty of stuff going on. I am back, clear-headed. Not as ever, because, I don't know if I could ever return to being as clear-headed as ever. Those days are way gone, way gone. But remember, folks, the FDA has still not evaluated the show for safety or efficacy. I spent a good time of the break trying to convince them. They just won't listen. They just still won't listen. Let's go ahead and do our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun, with responsibility, sustainability, and thriveability for all. All right, well, we got roughly, I think about 261 days left to remove Section 781 from the final appropriations package, November 13th, if you're keeping track. There is, of course, now a new bipartisan bill that puts the ban off until 2028. So we'll see how that goes. But remember that farm bill that we were talking about before? It seems like all hell broke loose on the planet. Still hasn't passed, but back on the table. So far, the only thing everybody is talking about the changes in the hemp that they want to make in the farm bill. The only thing that I've seen so far that they want to change is the total THC amount when harvested. Okay, so I think they want to, include the THCA, which would really be it. And so you're really just adding THCA to the THC list to 0.3% or so. But if the current ban in the appropriation bill holds, it's kind of a moot issue because they want 0.4% in the end product. So there's no more full spectrum CBD products. There's no more full spectrum CBN or CBG products. All that stuff disappears if the appropriation bills. The only thing that disappears now, I suppose, is THCA flower, which does suck because I can tell you between now and hopefully the farm bill isn't signed and done for a while, I'm going to sell a lot of it because we sell a lot of it. And again, still federally legal. I have yet to see an actual list of what is defined as intoxicating hemp in the state of Ohio, which I will talk about in a minute. We'll see. We're still keeping track. I will have to say that once again, in a ironic note, old T. Rump has signed another executive order saying that they need to speed up the process of adding cannabis. I don't know if it's just going to be the hemp, the CBD or not, to the Medicare, Medicaid program, which is something they talked about, but yet none of this has been on paper. Okay, they're dragging their feet on rescheduling. Okay, and this is what I think is funny is, the DEA has a big part of this, and guess who doesn't care about T-Rump stepping on their heads is the DEA. All right, I mean, what's he gonna do? Go after the DEA for not rescheduling cannabis fast enough? I doubt it. Now the FDA also obviously has a big part of this because if it is rescheduled cannabis period, then it becomes under the purview of the FDA, and so they have to declare something, and that's something they don't want to do. They don't want to do it on CBD. They've been dragging their feet now for 7 years, in my opinion, at least since industrial hemp went off the controlled substance list, and CBD has been a prevalent supplement in the United States. The FDA has deliberately, and they years ago I reported how they came out and said we're not going to do anything until the government actually tells us they have to, which takes a congressional act, not an executive order. Then the FDA is not going to do anything with hemp derived extracts or cannabis slash what they call marijuana derived. Now, again, if it's rescheduled, they have to. They have to. So, but everybody's dragging their feet on that because rescheduling is not the answer. Just so everybody's clear on this, it's not what we want. It's better than what we have, maybe, but I don't know because it's not really going to change anything because it's still, I mean. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see. I want cannabis to be off the controlled substance list. Period. And that helps hemp. That helps the whole marijuana industry. And I do find that we are finding a slow transition to calling it cannabis. And this is what I think is brilliant on the government's propaganda. Okay, is because now I think the government's going to start referring to marijuana as cannabis, so they don't have to call it marijuana, which is the word they made up for it to make it illegal, so that they don't have to say marijuana, but can still be for the legalization of cannabis. It's the dumbest. It's so psychologically stupid, but brilliant at the same time. Again, this is propaganda at its finest. It took almost 100 years for the government to turn around and call cannabis again. After they made up the word marijuana or bought into the word marijuana, which may have been made up by the tabloids. I don't know. There's a a bunch of people that could have been in a room or not that started all this. Now, I do believe that, and I have to go back and look at the history of that. I'm sure that the government added marijuana to their narcotics agency. The DEA did not exist at the time. It was the narcotics agency. And that is, at some point or another, what started all this nonsense, 85, 90 years ago, whenever it was. So, we'll see. We'll see what. Here we are, 2026. We're going backwards with hemp. We may be going sideways with cannabis federally. I don't know, but we're definitely going backwards with hemp now, which is just ridiculous. There's no reason to go backwards. Anyway, all right. Well, state of Ohio, we are collecting signatures. Get into 3844 Spring Grove Avenue. If you are a registered voter in the state of Ohio, you need to get to Hemptations in the Flower Factory at 3844 Spring Grove Avenue and sign. This is a voter initiative to negate SB 56 that your Ohio legislative body and government went behind your back to change the laws that we voted on to have personal use cannabis, to change the definition of hemp, which they cannot do in the state of Ohio, and to technically define drug paraphernalia and say that you can only buy drug paraphernalia in a dispensary. Okay? So until this actually goes into an act, I can tell you that we still sell drug paraphernalia because drug paraphernalia is legal in the state of Ohio as of today because of how it is, all the laws are. Now, March, when SB 56 goes into, if it does, if we do not collect enough signatures to put it on I guess it maybe puts it into the stay until we can vote. I don't know how it all works. We won't be able to sell what the state of Ohio is now clearly defining as drug paraphernalia and saying only the state of Ohio can tell you where to buy it. All right. We're going back to, I am now going into a state of defining our products as I don't know what they do. Here they all are. If you see something that you want to use personally at home to do whatever you want with it, I will sell it to you. Okay. The state of Ohio cannot define every pack of rolling papers as drug paraphernalia. They cannot do that. Okay. They can't tell you the wraps. They can't tell you intent. And it was a beautiful world briefly because they legalized marijuana against federal law in the state of Ohio. The state of Ohio was complicit with that and is still complicit with that. All right. Now the state of Ohio is complicit with selling drug paraphernalia. Are they I guess they're gonna sell bongs. And guess what's federally illegal as well? Bongs. It's in the Controlled Substance Act. Go look it up. It's one of the only words that actually defines action in all of the laws of the United States of America. We no longer can sell bongs. We can sell water pipes. Because you can use a water pipe for anything. Mm-hmm. We won't be able to sell bongs again because technically the state of Ohio, once again, is defining what drug paraphernalia is. And if that's the case, then they're the ones that are going to be selling bongs, which are in fact federally illegal. I wonder if I can, complain about that and have the DEA come in and raid the dispensaries for selling bongs.
Maybe.
That have a license from the state of Ohio. I'm not a narc, folks. I'm not a narc. I'm not narking anybody out. I'm just clearly defining what's actually going on in the state of Ohio right now, current. All right. Well, there you have it. Get in to Hemptations Flower Factory, Spring Grove Avenue, 3844 Spring Grove Avenue, as I just said. At least between the hours of 11 to 7, Monday through Saturday. Not only can you sign the petition, but I'll give you a free autograph. I'll be there. There's a very likely good chance. I skirt out maybe a little bit every once in a while to run some errands, but I'm normally here. I'm the one man in the ship, keeping it all going, doing what we got to do. So get in there, get you registered voters only. If you are not registered to vote in the state of Ohio, do not come in and sign this. Come in, check out all the good stuff we got, but
Indeed.
don't sign the petition. You're just going to mess it up. Just going to mess it up. All right. But come on, we need it. We need the call to go out now. I'm going to put more call to action more and more every day as I can. As I'm back into the Facebook and back into the social media, only for the store though. I cannot mess with my personal Facebook page anymore. The world has become just a bizarre. It's almost surreal how Facebook is. And it's not good. It's not good in any way. And so anyway, but as far as the social media, I'm back on the social media all around. I took a break from everything. I just had to clear my head, get back into a better headspace, and I am there. And the world is a shinier place, and I'm going to get back out there and continue to be the voice of hemp. Anyway, all right. Well, let's get on with the show. How about the product spotlight? 4 from the store, 1 from my door here on the High Noon Hemp Show. The first one, how about some belts? You need some belt. You need a belt to hold your pants up. Maybe just about it's. I mean, these are what is considered a survivalist belt or a military belt, which was a survivalist belt. This belt was designed to have many uses. From a tourniquet to a sling to a lot of properties that you might need when in the wilderness, not just to hold up your pants. So I'm not I've never really done any prepping, but I have to say about a month ago I was about as close to do as much prepping as I could because I really thought the world was going to end. That's about a half a joke. Anyway, so there you have it. If you need a belt, and again, these are adjustable. It can be any length up to as long as it is. There you have it. All right. How about some Blue Ridge hemp CBD lotion? It's kind of a low dose, but it's this right now. One reason why I'm showing this is because I am as dehydrated and dried out as I have been in a long time, and I'm really trying to keep up with it. And I don't use lotion on a daily basis. If I use hemp lotion on a daily basis, it actually almost makes me too moist. But I do use it. Definitely use it when I need it as far as dry skin, and right now I need it as much as anything. So, that's what it is. Good for the skin, especially right now. Here's something we haven't had in a while that we have a high demand for. So if you've been in asking for them, these are the raw pre-rolled tips. And so sometimes we have them in a tin as well, which has a lot in it. These are just the little boxes. But I'm sure once the word gets out that we've got them, it's going to go over because they're like super popular for the lazy roller who likes tips but doesn't want to use the tips that they actually have to roll up as well.
Right.
I don't roll, so I really can't judge. And I shouldn't judge.
Horrible at rolling. Absolutely horrible.
Horrible rolling. One of the worst rollers you'll ever experience.
I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
I don't bother anymore.
Yeah, I never have. Honestly, and again, like dire situations. um, I come from that kind of that generation of smokers that uses glass.
Yep.
It's just where that's where I grew up. My first pipe was actually inherited by my brother because I found it in his stuff. Actually, he went to Europe. I found it in his college stuff, and then I had it for a while. And I really loved it. It was a little wooden pipe that had the flip lid.
Mm-hmm.
You could hit it through the flip lid, so you could pack it, close the lid, and then go out and whatever. And so that was I had that, and I really liked that. And then again, once we opened Temptations, and we became one of the first, if not the first store to carry glass. At the time when we opened, the cupboard was not carrying glass smoking products. And that's a whole other history of smoke shops in Cincinnati. And so anyway, yeah, I'm a glass guy, not a roller. If I have papers and stuff and I had to, then I would. But it would look like a snake that swallowed a pig.
Right.
I'm just telling you, every joint I've ever rolled looked like a python that they swallowed 100-pound pig.
Two skinny ends in the big fat middle.
That's right. Two skinny ends in the big fat middle. Anyway. Oh, shoot. All right. And the last product here on the product spotlight is Top Hand Glove. This is all our Top Hand Glove selection there, all out so you can see what sizes you may need. Spring is coming. Spring is coming soon, and so might need some kind of spring gloves. And then the rubber gloves. I actually had a customer. He never did show up for them, but he likes the ones with the little rubber tips because he uses them as driving gloves. Which does make sense because those little rubber, the bottom row there of gloves has the little rubber tips on them. And so I do think that they would be very effective as driving gloves.
Absolutely.
Might look a little funny, but would do the job. And so, if it's a matter of sweaty palms and driving dangerously or hemp gloves that hug the steering wheel, I think you should look funny. Maybe I'll try them on my next road trip.
There you go.
All right, so there's 4 from the store, the 1 from my door. So I just found all of my banners, which I can't wait to get out somehow, some way here at the new location on Spring Grove. This is probably my all-time favorite banner because it lists 10 different languages, hemp in 10 different languages. And this, I think the fact that almost every culture has a different word for hemp shows you how old hemp is in society. Mm-hmm. If hemp was something new, most of the planet would call it by that. But the fact that almost every language has a different word for hemp, to me just shows how far it goes back in every culture. Except for the indigenous here in America, because cannabis was not in the Americas until the Europeans brought it here. So they would not have had a word for it. Now, I know that there was at least one indigenous tribe that embraced growing and wearing hemp after the Europeans got here, because the Europeans started calling them by a name that meant those that wear hemp or something like that. I forget how it all went down. I need to find that again. And I found that not in a hemp book, but in researching indigenous people. I'm a researcher by heart, and I have dedicated a good part of my life learning about the indigenous people of the Americas. So anyway, there you have it. 4 from the store, 1 from my door here on the High Noon Hemp Show.
Indeed. And that, of course, as you may recall, brings us to the greatest internet segment in all of internet, computer, electricity history, the Beachwear segment. That's right. Prove me wrong. You may also remember that we have a little tradition that we've started here in the last couple of years of checking out what the Guinness World Records has to think about various things in the world. Because, of course, as you know, Beach has set and holds many hemp records, all unrecognized and specifically unrecognized by the Guinness World Records. They'll cover anything else. Anything else. I'm sure they have records for the most prolific serial killer, but they won't touch hemp. They won't touch cannabis. It is off limits. So we have to do their job for them and continue to chronicle, at least in this segment, Beach's many records and many record-setting clothing items that he has in the beachwear segment. So what is the Guinness World Records talking about this week? Well, many of you may have seen this because it's gone way beyond Guinness media, it's mainstream media, because of who it involves. You may know Logan Paul. You may know him for various things. Wrestling, YouTube. Still, you may know him as the kid who was like in the Japanese forest and the guy was hanging there and made a goofy video that everybody hated him for. Here's something I hate him for. He has sold a Pokemon card at auction for $16,492,000. Really, the look on his face right there says it all. Almost $16.5 million for a Pokemon card he bought 5 years ago for about $5 million. So he cleared about $11 million in profit. All of that is to say that it's a record, and it's a very important record because it's at the top of the Guinness World Records X page about how Logan Paul made $16 million from a Pokemon card.
I think my disdain for both the Guinness Book of World Records and Jake Paul have just increased exponentially.
And Pokemon.
I can't blame Pokemon. I can't blame Pokemon.
I don't know how these things are valued. I wouldn't even begin to understand how a card, not made of hemp, I'm sure it's made of cardboard, is worth $16.5 million. But there you go. Good for you.
Geniuses. They're all geniuses.
Good job, Guinness World Records. Really have your finger on the pulse of, what's going on in humanity and the world.
Yeah.
Like us, we're just here talking about hemp, the plant that could save the world. That's just what we're doing. You guys do what you're doing and go worry about Logan Paul and his dumb Pokemon card. We'll work on this in the Beachwear segment. Because I have one question for Beach, and that is, what are you wearing, Beach?
That's right. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you will know. It's kind of a mishmash. I feel like I was like really confused about what I wanted to do today, to return back to the Planet Everywhere airways here on the High Noon Hemp Show. So next week I'll put a little bit more thought to it. Maybe there may be a couple items today though that I may have never been on the show. So anyway, so my jacket there, that's a hemp hoodlamp jacket, of course. Up on top there is an E-Conscious hat. My shirt is a 3/4 length Young Maven, one of two, and I don't know. This might be one. I don't know that this was ever been on the High Noon Hemp Show before, so that might be making its premiere here. It's hard to say. Of course, my jeans are Kentucky Hemp Outfitters. Holding them up, I've got my Hempies belt hanging down there on the side of my jeans. Of course, as always, my Green Springs Technology pen. That's a pair of Satori boxers. My socks I got from Hemp Authority I believe on eBay, but I don't think that Hemp Authority that operates now is the same Hemp Authority that I bought these socks from, and I have not really been able to find them since. But anyway, um, and of course that's a classic pair of Adidas shell toes there on my feet. So if you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. Here on the High Noon Hemp Show. All right. Well, here is a randomly picked, I don't know what it is, trailer for a movie that, of course, we still haven't gotten funding for. But let's check it out. And we'll be right back with the news.
Nice.
All right. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Did you have volume? Did you hear the volume on that?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have volume on the video on my screen. That was weird.
It was very epic, very made me want to storm Mordor, or maybe like the Guinness World Records offices or something. It was very
Yes,
epic.
let's all do it. Grab your hemp shorts, grab your hemp shirt, grab
That's
your
right.
hemp Adidas. I should say grab your hemp Adidas. Or actually, the line from the M. Doty song is grab your shell-toed shoes. And so I should say grab your hemp shell-toed shoes. For all you M. Doty fans out there from Soul Coffee. He actually, the line is the line from the song is grab your shell-toed shoes and your weed. Roughly something like that. So anyway, great musician. Love you, Mike. All right, let's get on with some good old news, and then we'll get everybody on their wonderful, wonderful High Noon Hemp Show Wednesday. So Dove milk, made by an Australian woman. She's moving her milk operation to Mexico to hopefully get into the U.S. market. And I'm wondering if she watches the news. Because I think attacking from Mexico is a terrible idea. I would have stayed on the path of just trying to get it from Australia into the United States. So we'll see. There's only one big player right now in the hemp milk market. The one that I have seen at the grocery store most, which is Pacific. And so, I say good luck, mate.
Right.
And it'll be cheaper probably in Mexico, and maybe that's the whole thing. But I don't understand why she wouldn't just go ahead and try to move the operation to the United States if she really wanted to operate in the United States. But it's probably got something to do with the fact that I think you have to spend like $100,000 to get a work visa in the United to work in the United States now, or something stupid. So anyway, Um, so the South Carolina THC ban stalled. Good for them. Again, bans are never going to work. That's why they're always never going to work. They're always never going to work. And so go at it from a different route, South Carolina, if you really have an issue. And again, not paying much attention to the federal law. Like, why are you even trying to do anything? I mean, if the current federal law goes into effect in so many months, just hold it out. No one's dying. It's not really an emergency. What? Never has been, never will be. Get that straight. THC has never been an emergency, and it never will be an emergency. So why not just wait until the federal ban goes into effect, and then you don't have to do anything? It's just easier. So Texas is once again moving to regulation in the year 2027. Now, finally, shifting from the idea of ban. Okay, Texas has finally given up the idea in their government to try to ban any of this stuff. And again, Texas was one of the first, for the record, to get checked. Go back and watch one of the early High Noon Hemp shows where I reported about Texas and D8, because they were one of the first states that tried to say D8 was illegal. And then the highest court in Texas said, no, it is not. And it's been kind of a trickle sideways effect with their bans. It's like they leave stuff alone and then, oh, you know what? We think we need to ban something else. And then they realize that they can't. So, I mean, and this is, once again, looking at you, South Carolina. This is a call to all the states that think it's a good idea to try to ban any of this stuff. All right? So, if Texas is smart enough to finally give it up, try to figure out where are the regulations. Get the regulations. Again, age requirements, a cheap license. Again, $50, $100. Just so you're registered, so they know that they can come and check and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in the right places. That's it. That's it. I guess Minnesota, which is kind of weird. Again, it's just so, because I don't think people would have guessed it, but I would have said Minnesota, not guessed, but said Minnesota is a pretty cannabis-friendly state, especially when it comes to hemp, because they've kind of embraced, instead of trying to ban, or I think they came up with some regulations. They really kind of embraced that hemp THC business, especially in the drink part of it. I mean, it was something that again, and I reported on this. Just watch any of the old shows, and you'll see when that was. I don't remember when. That they brought it up. It was contested, and once again, the court said no. Hemp-based THC is legal. You cannot say that it's not. And then instead of really trying to go some other route to ban it or do something else, the government said, hey, okay, if that's the case, let's embrace this industry. Let's do what we think is what makes it safe. Card people, blah, 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 make it age restrictions and move forward. When it comes to industrial hemp for growing, I mean, for say hempcrete, they've embraced that as well, the farming part of it. They had an issue recently with whether you could ship hemp in or out of the state. I don't know which one, but it went to the courts, and the courts and the highest courts in Minnesota said, of course you could ship these products. They're all federally legal. Okay, so I think that was the issue, was once again, the government or someone in Minnesota was saying THC is not federally legal, technically. And so this has THC in it, we can't ship it over state lines. Not knowing, once again, or thinking for 2 seconds that the THC came from legal hemp, which made it 100% legal. It can be shipped anywhere. Which is why, again, any ban in any state is so ridiculous, because you ban whatever you want to ban that I sell hemp wise in Ohio. All my customer do is tip tap tip tip tippity tap 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 tap. Yeah. Ding dong. Here's your package. From just about any other state. Okay? Anywhere. And totally legal. 100% totally legal to ship any hemp derived product over state lines. So you tell me in my state, I can't go buy it. I can't give you any tax dollars to purchase it. I can't support local businesses. But once again, I can go online and order it from anywhere and have it to me in a day or two. Totally legal. The logic doesn't hold up, but it sure supports the lack of attention for caring that retail is closing up by the umpteen. Grocery stores closing up. Restaurants closing up. Because everyone's freaking going online to purchase all this stuff. I mean, I can't even exponentially tell you how COVID and inflation and prices being high everywhere you go has driven most of my, because I can go and get any of these smoking devices that we sell online. You know, ironically, it would be a lot harder for them to go online and buy the hemp products, the clothing, the pet stuff. Not really. The pet stuff is easily, you can go online and find a hemp leash or collar or pet toys for your animals and have them sent there, as opposed to coming in here and buying them from Hemptations. That's the state of the world. You know, I don't have thousands or millions of dollars to compete with the advertising or the search engine advertising of big companies. I can't compete with Amazon. I mean, I guess I could list my stuff on Amazon and then never sell any of it, because the only way to sell anything on Amazon is to sell it so cheap that you don't make any money. It's a racket for sellers. It's great for consumers, and I utilize Amazon when I need to, and I pretty much given it up. You know, I have the same relationship with Amazon that I now have with Walmart, and that is I don't go there anymore unless I absolutely have to. You know, there are some things that it would be silly for you not to buy at those places, because why wouldn't you want to spend the least amount of money that you can? I can't argue that. You know, that's consumerism benefits. You know, it's destroying retail, but that is what it is. You know, knowing this is half the battle, I suppose, in trying to do. You know, I'm making as much money on eBay selling hemp jackets as any time ever before, selling them out of the stores, I think. So, you know, I'm trying to play the game too. Anyway, all right. So I remember once again reporting on this one some years ago, but the processing plant in Elk Point, which they received $6 million in government funding, say a year or so ago, is still in limbo. All right, and not because of the money or anything, that because of where they want to build this hemp processing plant, they don't have enough electricity.
Well,
And the one thing that I can't wrap my head around really is why wasn't solar panels a part of this? It just it just makes me want to open a big old can of abyss on people when they, this goes back to my whole theory of having a hemp business. All right, if you own a hemp business and you're not wearing hemp clothes, you're not a hemp business owner. You're just a business owner. All right. If you're opening a hemp processing plant and you're not thinking about using solar paneling as your source of power, then you're not really looking for the benefits of hemp to the planet, because now you're just buying into the electrical grid that's crap. I don't understand it. I don't understand that whatsoever. I mean, the minute this thing was stalled because they couldn't build it because of the power issues, they should have invested this money into a big old solar field. I mean, I would think that $1 million, just $1 million worth of solar panels. Come on, $1 million worth of solar panels can't produce enough electricity to run a hemp processing plant? I don't, I just, I don't understand it. I really just don't understand it. But, it's like they're doing the right thing by trying to build this processing plant for the fiber, um, because the fiber is great for the planet. But yet they just, it's like, there doesn't seem to be any correlation between, a lot of times, and this again, really kind of tells me the difference between people that are really in it for the right reasons or just possibly in it. And again, I'm not against having, I can give you a recommendation of probably 10 or 20 different viable hemp businesses that you could start tomorrow if you have a reasonable amount of money. And they would be good investments if you did them right. All of it. All of it is a good investment, because even it's the future. It's a slow future though. And again, right now, in my opinion, right now is the prime time to get in, because the big players aren't there yet. And you start getting in on the little end now. When the big players get there, if you're in it for the money, if it's a startup, if that's all you're doing is a startup so that you can start up and then build it and then have somebody buy you out, then, I guess I can understand wearing polyester shirts to investment meetings, and not caring about the environment really isn't your thing. Um, but if you're in the hemp world because you have a conscience for the planet, then not investing in everything you can to make your hemp business more planet friendly, if you can. Again, it's just if you can. Maybe you don't need solar panels to run your thing, so you don't have them. But if you do, if you need electricity, then do that. Invest in that. Anyway, it's just me. That's just my opinion as a hemp business owner that lives the real life. That's why I wear hemp head to toe every day. I didn't get into this 30 years ago to so our farmers could grow hemp again to make clothing out of, and then not wear hemp clothing. That's ridiculous. Anyway, all right. 10 high protein foods that help support muscle growth and faster recovery. Number 7, 3 tablespoons of hemp gets you 9.5 grams of protein. But here's the thing: it's also the zinc, the magnesium, and the iron that also help. And I quote: "Zinc helps with the protein synthesis and immune function. Iron is critical for delivering oxygen to muscles, and magnesium helps with muscle contraction and energy production." So there you have it, yet another reason why. Now, I also read today that you're not supposed to drink coffee if you take a zinc, magnesium, or iron supplement. So, I don't know if that means you should have your 3 tablespoons of hemp at night or not. I don't know. But, we'll have to go from there. All right. So here is what may be, and I don't know for sure, the very first 100% grown and made hemp shirt. This is the Benton. Now, and you can't really see what it is, but the Benton. It's the best picture I could give you. Made by Smith and Rogue, and apparently Smith and Rogue had more hemp. They do have hemp clothing, but it was all obviously imported hemp. But this is the Benton, which may be once again American, grown in the United States, processed in the United States, made into material in the United States, and then sewn here in the United States. So the rumor has it that the Farmer's Almanac has included cannabis to its planting schedule. So you guys will have to go and check that out. I don't know about the Farmer's Almanac website. If you still have, I think you still have to probably pay to actually check out the whole thing. I might actually see. I mean, I think they still publish. So I'm gonna have to go and find one on the counter somewhere. Maybe actually look and purchase that for the first time. So yeah, how about that? Study to replace antibiotics with CBD in chickens is going to take place in Morocco.
Yeah.
All right, so we now know we can give our hemp laying chickens here in the United States. FDA has approved hemp seed for meal, and so you can feed your chickens hemp seed and then sell those eggs to the public now. This is kind of interesting that they're actually trying to replace the antibiotics with CBD. And to that I say, if you have to have the chickens on antibiotics, their environment should change. But hopefully CBD will help get them off the antibiotics, and at least that's natural. And again, will make them healthier, better chickens. So, we'll see. I think that would help with egg production. I don't know if this was in egg laying or roasting chickens or meat chickens, so to speak. So either way, I mean, I definitely hope that if it's the meat ones, because I definitely don't want to eat meat that's been fed antibiotics. Okay, I don't know about the egg part. I don't know how that translates, but I still don't want to eat eggs from a chicken that ate antibiotics. But I don't know as much about how or if those antibiotics have a chance to make it into that egg. It's hard to say. They definitely make it into the meat. It's definitely making it. It's a terrible idea. So here's a picture of the first hemp house in Rochester, New York, getting completed. This was basically a spray-in type dealio. So if you're in Rochester, New York, I don't know where it is, but there it is. Supposedly the first hemp house in Rochester. So good for them. Keep on building, folks. Keep on building.
Indeed.
So here is a picture of the porch of Atlas. Now, Atlas is a tiny home. It was actually on HGTV's Tiny Home.
The only pictures I have left are animals.
Oh, shoot, I forgot to send it over. All right, well,
All right.
picture like it's a little tiny home, and it's got a deck that actually folds out, and so it's got an awning that folds down, and they fold flat like this to the side of the house. Okay, well, the deck that comes out, and this is like a super cool, I have to say, super cool design how this works. The deck comes out, um, and the awning goes up, and then you got your door, and then you have like little bar windows, and you can sit outside and have anyway. Um, but the deck was stained with hemp oil. That's the only reason I brought it up. You can buy this for like $45,000, and I tell you what, if I had $45,000 and needed to buy a tiny home, it's on wheels, so technically I think you can tie it anywhere. It's kind of off the grid. They're supposed to be off the grid, so I assume it comes with solar panels as well. Um, this design is insanely cool, and the fact that it has a hemp deck, is kind of a selling point. So anyway, it's called the Atlas. It was on again HGTV's Tiny Homes show at some point or another, but it's just a really neat design, honestly. Okay, so the reason we have the animals. So Hillcrest Park, go ahead and throw that first one up there. Hillcrest Park Zoo. Meet Sooner, the Bengal tiger. All right, so Sooner is an elderly Bengal living at Hillcrest Park Zoo and shows great benefits when they give Sooner CBD. And so this zoo has started to give its elderly animals CBD, not on a regular basis, just on occasion, and they have shown vast benefits. And then the next picture, this is Katie, Katie the timber wolf. And I don't know if these pictures were taken simultaneously, like Katie staring at Sooner and Sooner's down looking at Katie. No, but their poses are great. But Katie is also an elderly animal, as you can see from her gray, that benefits from CBD. So I just think it's really touching that this zoo, and again, I think there's a little bit of some mutual symbiosis between them and a local CBD producer, farmer. I'm not sure which one, and so I don't know that it's like they added it to their budget, but they took the time to find out whether the animals would benefit either way. And so it was offered to them, and they didn't say, no, we're not going to give our animals CBD. That's ridiculous. Um, maybe they shall. A couple years ago, where I reported about the zoo, and I believe this was a zoo in Europe or something, Warsaw, if I remember correctly. Man, I don't know if that's true or not. That was going to start giving their elephants. It was going to do a study on giving their elephants CBD. I don't believe we've seen any results from that, but I know that was something they were going to do. Now, I would find, honestly, you would need someone to donate that CBD, because the amount of CBD that it might take to make the difference in an elephant's life, it might be a lot of CBD. You know what I mean? A timber wolf? Dogs, that timber wolf probably doesn't weigh or is no bigger than Josie ever was. And it didn't take much to help Josie. And so Bengal tiger, no, that's a little bit, but you know what? That's a Bengal tiger is probably 200 pounds, so that's a 200-pound male using 250 pounds, 300 pounds. I don't know, but 300 pounds. How big is a Bengal tiger? Maybe even more than that. I bet they might be even 500 pounds. It's hard to say. But anyway, might take a decent amount, but they say that they see a difference. And I'm just, I'm taking them on their word. I want to make the Bengal tiger happy. That's for sure. There's a bunch of Bengal tigers here in Cincinnati that I should probably get some CBD to. They might enjoy.
Right.
Know. And I'm almost surprised there aren't more Bengal tigers here in Cincinnati that don't come and get CBD. That's it. Yeah, so the deck that comes down in the front there. I mean, how cool is that to begin with, honestly? That deck with the bar stools and the little windows and the door and the glass. I mean, come on. But yeah, the little deck that folds down in the front, that is sealed with or finished with hemp oil. And again, if you're working with any hemp or any wood, even if you stain, you want to put hemp oil over to finish it. It's amazing. I've shown the difference on the show before, as far as using hemp oil from the seed, just hemp oil from the seed, to bring back the color of wood. It's amazing. All right. Don't have a whole lot of events. Tomorrow I'm teaching the marijuana class at UC, all about hemp, so I'm excited about that. Always look forward to that. The medical marijuana meetup is, if correctly, and I hope this is right, is going to be the 3rd of March. I'll get a definitive on that and let you know next week. Again, that's here locally, and then. The Cincinnati Earth Day, CincinnatiEarthDay.org art competition, I think is still going on. And this is from middle schoolers or high schoolers. And so you can go and check that out. And of course, Earth Day, celebrating Earth Day. I have to go verify when we're celebrating Earth Day here. It's funny. It's like I never do really much of anything. I have the show and work. And then tomorrow I have, all of a sudden, I have the hemp teaching class. And then if I decide to literally like run out of here and go downtown, I can make it to the Earth Day meeting. It's like, I mean, come on. Any other day, I have nothing going on. But anyway. And so, either way, there you have it. All right, folks. Well, thanks for taking a break with us. Thanks for coming back. Spread the word about in Ohio. If you're in Ohio, spread the word about getting in and signing the initiative to stop the ban in Ohio. It's just ridiculous. And so, anyway, remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. I put those in the wrong order. Reduce, recycle. No, my brain is going.
I think you had it right. Sound like it.
I did. I had it right. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See y'all next week.